Remember that futuristic dystopian city called The Line that popped up on your social media a few months ago? Well, it's back and bigger than ever. Recent drone footage has confirmed that construction has actually started and is well underway. Will this trillion-dollar megacity be a stunning success, or will it be an abandoned failure? Let's find out. Here's a quick recap of The Line and where it's at now. Project called NEOM, which was spearheaded by the Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, was the start of the Line City, a self-contained megacity designed to stretch 1,600 feet tall, 650 feet wide, and 105 miles long. This idea was first brought to the public in July of 2021. The idea of the NEOM project is seeking to construct futuristic regions within Saudi Arabia. The city itself has been presented to be like none other on Earth. NEOM's big goal and sales pitch is to make the city produce zero carbon emissions. They're doing this by having all of the energy produced by wind and solar panels. In addition to this, all of the water in the city would come from a carbon-free desalination plant. It's also intended to be car-free, with the train running down the center of the horizontal city, letting its citizens get from one end to the other within 20 minutes. It also heavily promotes walking and community, with everything you need such as schools, shopping centers, doctors, and more being a 5-minute walk from your house. With such a bold idea, the cost does not come cheap. The building cost is estimated to be $500 billion USD, with some estimates as high as $1 trillion. It is claimed by the Saudi government that it will create 380,000 jobs, spur economic diversification, and contribute 180 billion SAR, which is the equivalent of $48 billion USD, to its domestic GDP by 2030. In addition to the line, which NEOM wants to house 9 million residents, which by the way is almost the same population of New York City, it also has planned a floating industrial and entrepreneurial complex called the Oxagon, and a mountain giveaway called Trojena that will offer skiing, biking, water sports, fashion events, music festivals, yoga retreats, you name it, it likely has it. All in all, this is a gigantic vision to say the least, and an even harder one to actually build. On October 19th of 2022, drone footage was shot by a Saudi Arabian company, OT Sky, and was posted by the architecture news outlet DZN on YouTube. It shows the construction of the line has actually begun in the desert of Tabuk, Saudi Arabia. The footage shows an army of construction equipment starting to terraform the area. It's hard to see how far they've built, with little indications in the surrounding area aside from the mountains in the background. According to their website, the city begins on the coast and continues through the mountain ranges. This likely means the footage was filmed in between both areas. Also, if we check Google Maps, there are some outdated hints showing a few areas under construction as well, from a bird's eye view. It seems NEOM is selective on what they're wanting to show to the public, as not much media has been shown aside from the recent drone footage that's been released. Now that we're all caught up on the line and where the project is currently, what happens now? In the past, we've seen mega projects grind to a halt and never start again. For example, the United Arab Emirates had launched the idea of the Masdar city in 2006, a vision of a clean tech future right outside Abu Dhabi. Sounds familiar? Almost 2 decades later, the site remains unfinished. Likewise, when the Icon U-City Corporation's smart city was proposed in South Korea, Songdo International Business District comprised of a pedestrian-friendly, low-carbon, high-tech space with enough urban density to invite dynamic living. With the intent of including over 1 million residents, the government hoped it would become an obvious hub for international business development. But for all the fancy tech developed and installed within its many completed sectors, the city remains underpopulating and isolating to this day. Now, Saudi Arabia was also part of the wave in the mid-2000s, boasting an idea of King Abdullah Economic City, KAEC for short, a project the size of Washington, D.C. The city intended to move the country away from reliance on oil economically. KAEC was promoted as an eco-conscious development, but planners failed to account not only for building, but also for connectivity costs. Failing to produce plans for how to bring the city online with respect to surrounding trade networks, this bankrupted construction budgets and stalled further growth. At the start of 2022, new investors were announced that the region hopes will help reboot KAEC, which still has under 10,000 residents. All of these half-baked cities are an example of what the line could turn into: not finished, stalled, or potentially rebooted in decades. On the other hand, the line is backed by an entire country this time that has deep pockets. If it's budgeted correctly, which is tough considering the estimated cost between $500 billion to $1 trillion, it could actually have the chance of working out. The Line City has another option aside from failing though. A more realistic approach would be creating small chunks of the city at a time, as it's supposed to be in a linear shape, with everything you need being in a 5-minute walking segment. This would be a great way to create a proof of concept and show potential new residents and investors in the city it's real and it works. If NEOM bites off more than they can chew, it may bankrupt them before they can complete the project as a whole. Now, on the surface, it's cool to see such a large and futuristic project being created, but Saudi Arabia has been under heavy criticisms for a plethora of issues surrounding the build, which include the main topics of lying about sustainability, the idea of if it's actually going to happen or not, and their unfortunate track record with human rights. We've covered these issues in our previous video on the line and why we think it's gonna fail. Public sentiment across the internet is also very negative and critical of the megacity. Some of our viewers on the last video suggested the same as well. Given the controversy and huge undertaking of building a megacity like the Line, many have showed doubt over whether or not it will ever come to fruition. For now, the world will have to wait and see what happens next. What do you think about the Line? Where do you think it's going to end up? Abandoned or amazing? Comment below and let us know your thoughts. Thanks for watching.